You are listening to your New Puppies podcast, starting you and your dog off on the right paw. Here's your host, Debbie Salento.
Hello and welcome to episode 105 of your New Puppies podcast. I'm Debbie, and today we're going to talk about potty training, specifically potty training regression. And yes, potty training is the one topic that I have the most episodes dedicated to. And that's because potty training can have a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot going on. It takes up a lot of time, energy, brain space, and it's happening at the exact same time where we're dealing with the general chaos of having a new puppy that has just hijacked your life. So I know that at this moment, puppy parents need a lot of support. So that's why I'm here. Now, we're going to specifically talk about, like, you've been potty training for a little while, things are looking good, and then all of a sudden it seems to take a U-turn and you go back to square one. You start to feel like you failed. You start to ask, did I mess everything up? Are we back to square one? What's wrong with my puppy? And the answer is you didn't mess up. You're not back at square one, and there's nothing wrong with your puppy. This is just potty training. Regression is normal. I'm not saying there's not a fix for it. I'm just saying it's normal. It's like you saw the light at the end of the tunnel and somebody just slammed the door shut. But the reality is potty training is not a straight line. I think we're going to go into it and there's going to be some accidents and then less accidents and then even less accidents and then none and we're done. Unfortunately, no. It's more like where you're going to have a little bit of progress and then you're going to take 2 steps back and then you're going to have some great progress and a random accident that you can't explain is going to happen. And then you're going to have even more progress, maybe even a breakthrough. Then you're going to have 5 accidents in a row. That is a completely normal pattern. And I know how disappointing and disheartening this can be because inside the live Q&As in my Academy program, we talk about it all the time. And I always hear things like, I must be doing something wrong. I failed. I don't understand. We were doing so well. But none of those things are true. If you're experiencing potty training regression, it just means you're in it because it's normal. Okay, so now that we've gotten that clear, let's talk about why it happens. So you're going to see how through our own habits, our puppy's habits, why this naturally happens throughout the process. Because when we know why it's happening, we'll have a better chance of fixing it. Okay, so the most common one is that we've given our puppy too much freedom too soon. If you followed me for a while, this one is not going to come as a surprise. But it's so common, especially near the end of potty training, when we've had some really good days or weeks, because we start to put our feet up a little bit. We start to think, yes, they are potty trained now. And we start to reduce our diligence and relax a little bit. So maybe we give our puppy a little bit more space in the house. Let them into rooms they've never been allowed in before. We use the crate a little less. Your supervision itself relaxes. So when your puppy's playing with the toy on their bed, instead of engaging with them or supervising them, you're like, oh, let me quickly go answer some emails or go do the dishes, and instead of waiting till they're in their crate. But this is exactly when our puppy's going to get up and have an accident because we're distracted. And they're able to because they're not in their crate. Maybe they even give a signal that you've missed. And this is a place where I have to remind my students that just because your puppy can hold it doesn't mean they know they have to. That is part of what they're learning throughout potty training. And yeah, it's hard to know if they've learned it yet until there's an accident, until this moment happens. But when it does, we know they haven't learned that yet. We have to go back to being super diligent and restrict their freedom a little bit. It's so understandable that this is the most common reason because we so badly want to give our puppies that freedom. It makes them happier. It makes our lives easier in a lot of ways. And we want to get to that life we imagined with our puppy, right? Them sleeping on the floor or playing with the toy on the bed, while we're relaxing with them or while we're doing what we need to do. Not this constant supervision. But the more diligent we are about it, the faster we will get through this and the faster you will get to that moment. They have to grow into that freedom. Because remember, you have a puppy right now, not a dog. There is a big difference. Another big reason is their routine changed in some way. Probably means your routine changed in some way. I see it a lot when a family with kids or a teacher gets a puppy during the summer and school starts in September and it feels like they have to start over, that there's this regression because that's a big schedule change. Also, a puppy's natural schedule will change as they grow. So they're going to start napping less. So you are less inclined to put them in the crate because they're not really napping as much and they need more stimulation. They need more exercise. They hit that 5-month true puppy energy, but maybe before they're quite potty trained yet. As I briefly mentioned before, this is also where their development might start to confuse us a little bit because, puppies operate on the when you gotta go, you gotta go. Like that's how they are naturally brought into this world. And we are teaching them when you gotta go outside. Okay. And they can hold it longer. Sometimes they will hold it. Maybe they're distracted. Maybe, there's something else going on today. And they just held it for a few hours before you were able to get them outside. But just because they did that yesterday, that doesn't mean that they're going to do it today. Today, they might be like, oh, I got to go. And just go. The amount of sleep they got, the weather, how much food they've eaten will all affect it. And just like any other habit being learned, some days we do really good. Some days we slack a little bit and go and default back to our natural behavior. Puppies are no different. So these are just the most common reasons. There's actually a whole lot of reasons why you might have a random accident here or there after you haven't had any in a while. And random accidents, I wouldn't count as regression. It's more of a pattern of more accidents, like multiple ones in a day or multiple days in a row where you're having accidents where you were doing well. Then we have to go back and be like, okay, wait, what's happening here? What do we need to change? And the vast majority of the time, it's just tightening up the rules again and going back to, close supervision. When in doubt, take your puppy out. I actually have a whole podcast episode. It's episode 79, where I talk about the 3 things I always go over with my clients if they're struggling with potty training. And that's keep control the water, write everything down, and use the crate more. Okay, if you want more details on that, if this whole episode has kind of resonated with you, I highly recommend going and listening to episode 79. That's playtimepause.com/episode 79. As always, I will link to it in the show notes. I'll also link to all the other potty training episodes inside the show notes in case you want to go look to see if anything else is going to be helpful to you. Okay, so if you take one thing away from this episode, it's just because you have a little bit of a regression, just because you feel like you've gone backwards a little bit in potty training after having some success does not mean failure. It just means that you're in it because it's part of the process. And every puppy parent is going to hit that moment of frustration and disappointment. And it doesn't mean that you or your puppy is doing something wrong. And I promise you, even though when you are in the middle of potty training, it feels like you're going to be in it forever, especially in these moments. And I promise you, you won't be. One day you're going to be relaxing on the couch with your dog and be like, remember when we couldn't do this and I always had to keep my shoes on, or I always had to keep an eye on you because we had to get outside at any moment? That wasn't fun. I promise you, you will get there. Because in the grand scheme of things, potty training is only a small blink in this fun, enjoyable life you two are going to have together. But it feels like it's forever because it's happening at that very first stage of your time together. And that is all I have for you today. I have a download of my complete guide to potty training your puppy. So especially if you're in the beginning or you're not sure what I mean when I say go back to what you were doing, what was working, I'm talking about that process. And again, you can get it playtimepause.com/potty, Potty. And also, these are the kind exact things that we troubleshoot inside Your Perfect Puppy and Playtime Pause Academy. Because things like potty training, even if you're doing everything right, you're going to have hiccups. I am in there every week. We have a live Q&A over Zoom, and I help you through these moments. So Your Perfect Puppy gives you all the information you need, and Playtime Pause Academy gives you all the support that you need to raise your puppy into a well-mannered dog. If you want more information about that, just head over to playtimepause.com/puppy, Puppy. Otherwise, if you are enjoying this podcast, you can rate and review it wherever you listen, and that helps other puppy owners find the podcast. Either way, thank you so much for listening. I'll speak with you soon. Bye for now.